So it's the Eastern Business Report on Afia Business Morning. I'm Nnamdi Obanya. And as part of our Fashion Week focusing on the business of fashion, we'll be talking about the challenges of fashion events organization and management. Now, you know that, designers, stylists, everybody, well, their customers are not always in their shops, and you can't always pray that they find you. There have to be platforms, there have to be fora for people to, bring up their products, bring up their services, and push to a wider market. This is where the fashion event organizers come in. The runway has become very important for, particularly for the haute couture, the ready-to-wear high fashion segment of the industry, and also as a good platform for bringing younger and new designers to the spotlight and the front burner, of course. Now, there are different major fashion events, whether it be runway, exhibition, all over the country. But the Southeast seems to have an issue with doing this. We have the Aba Fashion Week annually. There's the Food and Fashion Fest annually. And of course, there's the biggest one, which happens in what you would call the summer, June every year, the Coal City Fashion Experience. Well, when I say biggest, size-wise, number of participants, venue, runway. But the problem is this: how many do we have, and what backing do you have from brands, within and outside the region? That's what we're looking at today. And joining me now in the studio is my good brother and friend, Mr. Ohis Oarhe, Project Manager, Coal City Fashion Experience. Good morning. Good to have you here.
Good morning.
So, I know because of my time in Enugu, I've been to 3. But how many have you had? How many experiences have you had? How many editions of the event have we had, the Coal City Fashion Experience?
Okay, we've had 2 editions already. This year will make it the 3rd edition.
Okay, this is the 3rd edition.
The 3rd edition, yes.
I've been to 2, actually.
Yes.
So I'm asking this because over this time, how many, starting with our local brands, because charity begins at home, how many local brands have latched onto it and kept themselves as permanent fixtures with the events?
You mean in terms of supporting
partnerships, sponsorships?
None.
And I'm asking this because I've been there.
Yeah.
I've seen the crowds. Now, on an average, how many vendors do you get at the event, and how many exhibitors that exhibit their brands?
Okay, for both the marketplace and the runway, around 80 to 100. Because the event is tailored for fashion designers, people who actually make anything related to fashion accessories. So it's not for boutique owners. If it was, maybe you would have had more. But it's tailored to people that actually make these things. So you're telling me that in Enugu, it's possible to get 80 to 100 fashion designers in one place? Yes, it's possible.
At the same time?
Yes. But it takes a lot of work.
No. So because the question I'm coming to is this. So the entire community, you can get 100 of them in one place at one time. Then, of course, I've seen the attendees, people who come to watch, people who are interested, and not a single, microfinance, bank, business support, anybody in the fashion value chain, nobody thinks I need to be there.
Well, I really don't know what the issue is. I don't know if it's a mindset thing, and most times when you reach out to the local brands, they don't seem to understand the value proposition, even when you break it down. For instance, you're telling somebody that, okay, see, we have 5,000 guests for the 2 days, and this is an opportunity for your brand to interact, and most times they are thinking of sales. Yeah, am I going to sell? If I sponsor you, am I going to sell 1,000 things there? Depends on what you're selling, If let's assume you're a business that is into app, yes, I can guarantee you a certain level of downloads. Yeah. It just depends on what you sell. But here, generally, most of them really don't understand why they should sponsor an event. So it takes a lot of talking, and it doesn't still change. I think the average businessman here is thinking of sales and not marketing or promotion or publicity.
And this worries me. I'm not discrediting anybody, but I've seen, government and, more institutional trade fairs and things like that get some high-level sponsorship.
Yeah.
Then I've seen the really well-attended events, like the Coast Fashion Experience, very well attended. Food and Fashion Fest, very well attended. There were these girls that had this one recently. I don't want to murder the pronunciation. Inje Gala, I can't pronounce it. I was surprised. It was a small scale thing, well attended. So obviously the fashion event organizers are going all out.
Yeah, we'll go all out.
Putting on a major show.
Yes.
Even having things that happen trend online.
Yes.
But you're not getting this. And I went to trend online because I want to ask this. How many bloggers, influencers, people on social media who are not being paid and who would attend other places, they will go for events at a hotel in Lagos, go for other things, take pictures. How many of them vlog at your events?
None.
Is there any reason? I mean,
okay, so it's a thing in the East, in Enugu, that when something's happening in Lagos and other places, it is seen as, everybody wants to associate, even when you're not being valued there or recognized. Now, bringing that same thing to Enugu, like creating something as good or even better than that, everybody wants you to pay them. The same thing you carry for free, you want us to pay you. But you're also telling us that you are projecting the East as a blogger, as a vlogger, So what we have succeeded in doing, when you reach out to people and they keep asking, you need to find a way. I'm a salesman, I'm a marketer, by profession, and I do my job very well. So you need to figure out a way to get the same result without those people. So in the last 8 years, for every of our events, we have done it without any influencer. It will amaze you that the Coast City Fashion Experience does not have any influencer.
That's digital influencer.
Yes, digital.
Because in terms of traditional media, television, radio, those have been.
We see a place like Afia, a radio station like Afia Radio, a TV station like Afia TV understands what we are doing, because we also know where they are coming from. The people that run this business are exposed, they travel, they understand this thing. So it's easy to sell our vision to them, and they'll key into it and buy into it. But a lot of people are after, how much do we get? Now, when the event is set, people come for the event, that is where you now see, everybody start posting, they expect it to be like this. Some fashion designers that I know personally have never registered for my event, even the ones that I make clothes from. But they come to the event and maybe it's the expectation, they didn't know it was going to be that great and excellent, So we have learned how to get our results without having to depend on people,
So there's this thing, I know it affects us, it affects lots of media people in the industry.
Yeah.
The fact that approvals for sponsorships, partnerships all come from Lagos.
Yes.
There is no decision making
in the East
for a lot of businesses. What surprised me is even companies that are domiciled in the East.
Yes.
The approval is with a media agency in Lagos. So do you still try to reach out to people in Lagos, or have you said the effort is too much? What's the?
We are not quitters. It's not in our nature to quit. Whether support or not, we go all out. Between 2023 and now, we've written at least 60 proposals. Even last week, I was in Lagos to try and follow up on some people, But I really don't know. I don't know if it's intentional. When it comes to the East, most brands don't want to support things in the East. So that's where the local players are supposed to come in, maybe support, depends on the level they can support, so that we keep pushing whatever we're doing. See, what we are doing is we are giving you an excellent event, from organization, from our packaging, everything, but we are in Enugu. When you pitch proposals to these people, once it's Enugu, once it's Southeast, there's a way they look at it. From the banking sector to the telecoms, all of them. There's no industry we've not reached out to.
Despite a good number of their... Between Onitsha market to Ogbete market, Aba and Newe. I think if all these guys left mobile phones in Nigeria, the telecom industry would know
In
that
every
they've lost.
industry, let me give you a practical. I do my research a lot. I'm a salesman, so I need to numbers. Enugu account for at least 67.9% youth. That's the demography. We have over 22 or 23 campuses, higher institutions. So brands should be killing themselves to actually come to Enugu, not the other way around. But I don't know if it's intentional, if it's political, but once the project is in the east, they will tell you, oh, if it was in Lagos now, Abuja, Port Harcourt. I've heard that for the last 8 years of me being in Enugu. If it was in Lagos now, we'll do it. Different brands. All the brands
the thing you said about social institutions, I think most people don't understand. I mean, on a, will I say, 10, 15-minute drive from my house to work, you know, I would pass Coast City University, Godfrey Okoye University,
you pass Park Lane.
Health Science, pass Park Lane, and if for any reason I want to get where I get some of my quick breakfast, I can go as far as UNEC. So I can, before reaching work in the morning, touch 5 campuses. This is a 20-minute drive, and I don't know if there's anywhere in Nigeria where you have that density of top-tier higher institutions.
I'm telling you.
I forgot to mention IMT is on the route too.
Park Lane is at the back.
IMT is just like in 30 minutes. Now, if I wanted to make it an hour and a half, I could get as far as Nsukka if I wanted. So you can touch within 2-3 hours, you could touch every higher institution in Enugu State. And the brands are not.
I think there needs to be a conscious way of educating these people up there. And I'm not trying to, I'm not an Igbo man, you understand, but I happen to be in the East. I've seen there's potential in the East. I have been working selflessly, trying to put Enugu in position, the little way I can, And when you reach out to these people, I don't want to mention companies. When you reach out to these people, you find out that the heads of this department, marketing, are all Easterners.
They are Easterners,
I'm not saying you should support us because you are from the East. No. The same eye you're using to look at Lagos, use it to look at. People reach out to me in Lagos and be like, is this event in Enugu? That is not, it's a lie. Even our TV commercial, agencies were reaching out to us. Somebody from an agency was asking which agency shot this. And I told him, I said, so because we're in Enugu, you feel nothing good comes out. He said, no, that he didn't mean that. I said, why would you think an agency in Lagos shot it? You understand? So we have everything here. We just need the right support, we're not getting support from, we're talking about the local, what about government?
I was going to come there because, charity begins at our home. But I was exhausting the brands first because we always start from there are brands who spend more on CSR that doesn't matter on things that and they spend far more.
Most of them don't spend. Events. Most of them. I've had conversations with some companies like their regional offices here. Most of them don't do their CSR in the East.
No, they don't. I'm very aware.
And nobody is talking about it. Nobody is being accountable for it.
I mean, here at Afia, we've been asked why we did not set up in Lagos. How do you tell the story of the East from Lagos? Exactly. It's very superficial. So I can understand where you're coming from. But now, coming to the government, I was going to ask you. You actually went ahead of me on that one. The new government seems to be keening into everything. We saw the Tech Fest. We saw the Enugu International Marathon. The new government seems to be they've keened into sports. They've keened into tech. They've keened into agriculture. We saw the 100 tractors brought in and the assembly plants right here in GRA, just by road safety. Why is fashion being ignored? And I look at, you mentioned the youth statistics. The amount of young people engaged in fashion in Enugu State that are exporting to even other states.
No, there are a lot of people that say, I was with a lady yesterday, we went to, because what we did this year is, if you register, we'll come to your place, do a nice shoot. We want to have proper. We just want to be the best at what we do. You know, she told me that her customers are not in Enugu, they're in Sierra Leone. She has a factory. So she advertised for Enugu, but her business, her customers are in Sierra Leone.
I mean,
the person is in Enugu. You get, so a lot is happening. A lot is happening here.
You know, I had the creative director of Milestone yesterday, and what you're saying about, you know, outside Enugu customers seems to be the way.
Yeah.
I know even one of the oldest brands, Ziof, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Looking at so
FM exports
to,
shoes and clothes, exports to other parts of the world, and it's in Enugu.
So, is it that even the businesses in Enugu are not even interested in the Enugu market?
See, I was going to say something about the government.
Yeah.
Yeah, the government has keyed into sport.
I was going to ask why they're not keying into this vibrant.
It's not even fashion they are not keying into. The Enugu state government is not keying into the creative industry. Tech is under innovation and science. But the creative industry, what is the government? Exactly. I ran an art exhibition for 6-7 years, and I never got any support from government. You know, and these are people, because I'm an advocate of state of residence, not state of origin.
Yes.
You understand? We're giving platform to people in this city, but the city or the state is not supporting. You know, you are not getting sponsorship. You burn out. You get.
It's funny you would say this because Enugu is actually a creative hub.
Yes, it is.
A lot of top visual artists are here. Think of any performing arts, creative arts. They not come from here. You know, Nollywood was bettered here.
Yes.
I look at some great Bona Art Gallery. You have some great artists here, and you wonder. You know, it just what you said is actually very eye-opening. It's not just fashion.
It's not fashion. I'm talking about the creative industry. Because we ran open mic for 3 years straight. Every last Sunday of the month for 3 years. There was no support. It was a platform for music, comedy, spoken words. You know. So I think they need to be a conscious effort to support the industry. And if they need help, they should engage people like us who are already players in the industry. There are a few of us who have been consistent for the last 8 years.
I know the people I talked about, I know it's the same people most people will talk about.
Yeah.
If we're talking of exhibitions here in Enugu, I mean, I'd start with you and Jasmine, then start looking, for the event organizers. Yeah. Now, I know that there was street fashion, which I thought was very innovative. They had the runway on the streets. But if you guys who invest so much in doing really big things are not getting this local support. So let me ask, what is the concerned ministry now, which is culture and tourism? Because all arts come under culture. We know we used to become Ministry of Arts and Culture before they merged with tourism sometimes. So what exactly is this ministry doing to deliberately? I'm not talking of, roadblock. I'm talking of the creative sector itself. What is this ministry doing to even put you people on a pedestal? Even if they're not giving you money, they can put you on pedestals that will bring money to you. That, look, we're behind these people, give them money.
Right now, we need money. Do you know how much you spent in the last?
No, what I mean is, I don't stop in Lagos, for instance. I don't stop in Lagos, where then it was Ministry of the Lagos State Sports Commission.
Yeah.
Then they would put their letterhead, give you a letter, and tell you who they are sending you to. And when that person gets there, you say, I'm from the Tinubu. Like they deliberately, end to end, push you into where, okay, we're not giving you money here, but you want to use Tesdin Balogun, right? You won't pay. First assistance. So you've taken venue off your expenses. And venue comes with security and cleanup.
Yeah.
All those expenses are gone.
Chairs, arrangements.
Then, because they are partnering with you, they are sending you to the banks that want them to bring all the state athletes and state funds to them, telling the bank, these guys are on our project, help me, I help you. Okay, the bank says, okay, what would they do for us too? And we're like, ticketing the gate is cheap, but is a lot of people coming to watch this sporting event. Okay, that's nice. Everything so you put the ticketing account in our bank? Yes.
See,
so where are those? That's a deliberate strategy by a government institution to push business. Where are these key partnerships? Who is driving these key partnerships in Enugu for the creative industry?
Nobody. I don't know of any, because I told you I've been here for 8 years, 9 years now, and I've been doing this from my first year, doing different. Nobody, from the last administration to this administration, nobody has supported me. So I don't know if there's a support, or there's a key driver that is doing all this with other people. But as now, as I'm speaking to you, nobody has, no ministry or departments from the government has done anything with or for us.
I mean, it can't be only you, because...
No, I'm talking generally.
No, I know.
But I can be specific.
You were saying you are just speaking yourself.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, I'm sure, because I look at what happened last year when at the last minute the Food and Fashion Fest got kicked out of Okpara Square. And the day before to IMT. So it means that nobody looked and said there's a reputation thing here.
Yeah.
After this event going forward. But we can't kick these people out a day to their events. So that my question is, in fact, I want you the opportunity to call out the Ministry of Culture and Tourism. I'm sorry, I have to call out the Enugu State government. A point has been raised. The creative sector cannot be ignored. You can't ignore that place, because even we in the media depend heavily on the creative industry for content. One thing I would say is, and I'm sure it's a problem you faced here, is when you're bringing something new, the lack of capacity makes the work twice as hard.
Yes, and you tend to spend even more because you also don't want to bring something new that is not up to national or maybe international standards.
Yeah.
Like for me, that's the eyes. That's how I see things. If I'm doing anything, it has to be the best, so that when somebody else tries it, you can't even. By the time you are trying to meet up with our first edition, we are 10 years, 5 years ahead of you. So that's what we've been doing. If you check our TV commercial, you see that it was very intentional. We really went out of the box.
And why I brought that up is because I'm looking at the fact that for those of you who have been pioneers doing this thing, a lot of training, in fact, a lot of people doing other smaller events, maybe not even fashion or creative, might be from the skills they learned at this. I say this because at Afia came here, with the exception of ESBS, there's no TV. So I know the amount of training that has gone on here. I know the amount of skills that has been given to people who had never worked in TV. And
also, so directly or indirectly, you are training people, because your photographer, your videographer, your head of this team, they are getting better over time.
There's even, you forgot the most important people are training. I'm not mentioning the amount of project managers,
exactly,
who are project assistants now that are being trained.
You're giving over 40 models a platform. Which other place would they have these platforms? And
I have to say, I'm not saying this because you are here. I think what impressed me the most, I'll tell you, it's not even the event. I'm a big fan of strategy and build-ups, and so when I see the streamlining, the training, and the for the models, testing over days, looking at each model, mapping to an outfit and a hairstyle. Most people don't see the amount of work behind, but because I'm privileged to come and see what is happening, it makes me appreciate even more the attention to detail that goes in. So even these models themselves now know that, because when people say model hook up, they are bringing them. So people are like, this is actually a career.
Yeah, it's actually
a skill. When you're being drilled on something the right way, you realize it's not just being a fine girl or six-pack boy. There's work here. So as we're rounding up, let me ask the big question: what is the main thing that needs to happen? Not just to fill this void, but to push, this end, because now it's now bigger than fashion. The whole creative industry is tied. What needs to happen to push for that next leap?
Okay, so for me, if I were in the position of the government or the ministry, I think the Enugu state government should have a creative industry funds. You know, it's set aside for creatives. Now, you should also look at, you know, when such funds come in, for instance, everybody is trying to come up with stuff. Look at people who have been consistent first and say, okay, your event is an annual event. Ohis, Jasmine, this person, you guys have an annual event. You've been consistent for this. Okay, we are allocating this to support you. I will proudly put Enugu state government on everything I am doing. Because it also put Enugu, give a positive appraiser in the minds of those young people that, oh, the government even cares about us. Yes, you are working, you are doing roads, you are doing this, it's fine. But you see, you need to invest in human capital. Human capital, yeah. You need to give SMEs a platform, a reason for them not to quit. You know, there are a lot of fashion designers that are struggling. Now, it goes beyond fashion. Don't forget, we are going to engage ushers. Yeah. It's somebody's business. Yeah. We're going to engage a carpenter that will work on our frame. So it's a whole lot. As it stands, we are videographers, photographers, you know, even electricians are going to be engaged. Yes, because you're going to set your... Did you see our setup last year? Yeah, I was there. Nobody believed it was in Enugu. Yeah. Nobody that was outside Enugu believed it was Enugu. So we believe in excellence, and we don't want anybody to water down whatever we're doing in the southeast. You know, whatever I can do in Lagos, if I have half of the resources, I can do better. Not even half, even a quarter, I can do better. So the question now is, we need the right support. The question who is going to build the cat? Of course, maybe it's time there's a creative industry. I don't use the word forum, but a creative industry agreements. That's is Benis land. We'll hold there for next. I know they might read it differently in a violent manner, but you know what I mean. Say hold up for truth. But the truth is, these people see what we are doing. There's no how you tell me that. So why do they not place value? Is it that it's about political? They don't see the political capital. They don't see the reputation capital, or is it a case of it's not being done by people who are already in the party or in the system? I really don't know. I really can't tell, because everybody out there, whether young or old, see what we are doing. People call to commend it that please. Okay, sometimes I tell people that I'm even tired of Enugu. I think if I take this thing back to Lagos, where I came from, I should be making a lot of money, not spending by this time. You get, or Abuja, you know. But people will be like, oh no, you've done a whole lot. I'll be like 8 years old. That one are 2 World Cup. 2 World Cup, 2 Olympics. You get any child they give birth to. Yeah, he's already in primary school. Primary 4, getting ready. But for me, I'm pro Enugu. Yeah, I've seen potentials here, but we just need the support. I know how much I spent this year, myself and my team. I know how much we spent. You've seen our billboard. Yes. You've seen we've spent a lot. We've been running sponsored ads since January. Because even the fashion designers, they drag their feet. A lot of them are laid back. You know, you see a fashion designer travel to Abuja to showcase his work. Then there is an event here. He's asking, I'm a big designer, should I pay? No, it's free. We are getting the hall. So I think for now, since we are not able to really get the sponsors from outside Enugu, we need those people in Southeast to support. And the government has a role to play. See Lagos, for instance. If somebody like AY has an event, or other people, they go to the government, or they invite them, whoever goes, or whoever invites who. They support them. Yeah. Sometimes they buy tables. Yeah. Then give you electronic billboards. Because Lagos State has lots of billboards. Do you know how much cost they have reduced for you? Yeah. Do you know how much we're paying for billboards? Those big billboards are nothing less than 200, 250. You still print the flex, about 90K. So for one billboard, you're spending almost 300, 300 plus. 5 billboards, you spend 1.5 million. Exactly. Nothing has started yet. You've not painted the first stage. So the state government needs, for me, the state government needs to come in. This is not writing a business plan. you are seeing it. You know, it's a long-term thing. For us, we've decided whether anybody comes or not, we're not doing a show, we're building an international brand. It just happens to be in Enugu. Because in the next few years, you see designers. By next step, God's willing, we'll start traveling to invite these designers from Europe to come to Enugu. You know, somebody is saying, you should say your great-grandfather not be from Enugu. I'm like, brands. So I just hope that
now for fair we dey like so.
support. And thank you, Afia TV, for all
of course, and as we get nearer to the event, of course, we'll have more coverage, have more questions, and possibly I'll be calling out the relevant ministries and governments. Thank you so much for being here this morning. Coaching Different Experience coming up in June 28th. So I mean, you want to get ready, you don't want to miss that one.
It's an open event.
Many will have different open free events.
Yes, let everybody come experience it. That's why it's an experience.
You want to play with that?
Although I would advise you to find out about the VIP package.
Yes, we have that.
That is not free, but trust me, worth it. I would say more than that.
Thank you.
Thank you much for being here. That's all we can take on the Eastern Business Report. But the Afia Business Morning is not yet over. The market PK is getting ready to take you into the market to meet the traders and see the product. Our market comes up next. So till I come your way tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, of course, when trading resumes. I'll be here, channel 254 DSTV, 17 Go TV, and of course 748 Free TV for another edition of Afia Business Morning. I'm Nnamdi Obanya saying have a very, very profitable business day.